Hi Wildings, welcome back to the Wilding Astro Tarot YouTube channel for another intuitive tarot reading. My name's Jade Wilding and it will be a pleasure for me to read for you today. Today's messages is all going to be about your person, whoever's coming to mind straight away, where they're at on their personal and or spiritual journey. We're going to find out what secrets are going on, hopefully fairly deep within them. And what shifts you can kind of expect from them in the not too distant future. If at any point these messages are starting to resonate, I would love if you could hit the like button and or leave me a comment if you have the capacity to do so. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoy our reading today and you'd like to stick around on this channel for more intuitive tarot readings like this, where we hopefully use my background in psychology, sexology, my yoga teacher training, my mindfulness training, to get as deeper messages as possible for you, then I would love if you could subscribe. And of course, all of the links to all my other socials and the links to book readings and everything else you might need is in the description box below. As far as today's video goes, we will get into more details about what it's going to be about and how to go about getting the right reading for you in a moment once we finish setting up our ritual space, which it looks like we are just about done. So let's get into today's video. Okay, Wilding, so today's video, as we all know, is a pick a card reading for messages about your person's personal or spiritual journey. We're going to find out kind of where they're at. I am sneaking this one in between some private, so it's probably going to be a shorter one today, especially because it's a little bit later in the day than I would normally film a YouTube video, so we're probably going to lose the light very quickly. So it's more of a quick messages today, but that said, we'll see how we go, because I can talk a lot about the messages of the tarot. So whenever you're ready, choosing pile 1, 2, or 3 to go to the timestamp for your personal messages. So just wherever you're being drawn intuitively, head on there. And wherever you end up, I will see you there in a moment. Hey there, pile 1, welcome to your reading about where your person is at on their personal and or spiritual journey. So if you chose this beautiful crystal, then this reading is probably for you. But as always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This is a general reading, so there may be some nuance for your particular situation that you're going to have to interpret with your own intuition. But we'll get some messages about maybe what's going on with this person more in a physical sense, and then maybe some deeper messages with our tarot. Did we get anything else for pile 1 in regards to thank you? Okay, so this person probably has heavy Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Capricorn, or Virgo placement. So lots of air energy here with a little bit of kind of earth groundedness or stability. But yeah, lots of air energy here. Probably the themes that this person is dealing with at the moment is understanding the soul contracts that they've had with people, maybe if not in that specific language, just understanding maybe the purpose of why certain people have been in their life, understanding the lessons, understanding kind of what it is about those people that drew your person towards them, what that connection kind of had for your person, what your person stood to gain from it. They're also probably going through a big shift in terms of the way they think about things, because they're analyzing especially their contracts with people, And I would say it mostly is affecting them in their friend circles, partners, and in their career or in their soul work. So yeah, there's a big, especially mental shift going on for them. And I think they're particularly focused on making changes in their career, relationships, and friendships. It does seem like these challenges are maybe on the more difficult side for this person right now. Like, I doubt they're learning these lessons from a place of love and light. Like, this seems like a bit of a kind of stirring up, maybe some tower moments, maybe some temptation. It does seem like this person is struggling. There's also a good chance that, like, kind of the flow of this person's life is getting, like, really clunky. Like, they're potentially not having everything run as smoothly as what it normally would. Because, yeah, there seems to be some blocks for them that they're coming up against in their life, and it seems like Spirit really wants to realign them. So yeah, they're experiencing some clunkiness and, like, trying to figure out how to approach these areas of their life, these Libra, Aquarius, Capricornish themed areas, with a lot more I'm getting mostly truth. Like, there is a lot of air energy here, and the air signs rule things like mental processes, but air and spirit are, like, very closely connected. So yeah, I would say it's like this real combination of them, like, kind of rethinking things, but also getting to, like, maybe a deeper truth, a more spiritual truth perhaps, depending on the person, regarding, like, kind of how they're going about their life. It does seem like there needs to be some sort of shift, to be honest, especially in these areas. They might not be doing their real soul work right now, like their soul calling. They may have been entertaining either friendships and or relationships that ultimately weren't serving them or didn't have anything to offer them, especially not in a deep way, or to teach them anything, essentially. Like, they might have been relationships where the energy was a bit more kind of there for convenience, there to avoid loneliness, rather than the connection having some sort of purpose. But we'll maybe get a bit more specifics from our tarot in regards to what it is they're dealing with. Okay, so this person has accumulated a bit of challenging karma with this Wheel of Fortune coming out in reverse. Potentially they've done some people dirty or done themselves dirty in a lot of ways. I would say that this person is kind of waking up to how their maybe conditioning and patterns in their life so far have really kind of created a prison for themselves. The Devil card can indicate getting to a stage of spiritual enlightenment where we're really conscious of our bondage, of the things that chain us to like, first of all, the flesh prison, but also like the material world, and all of that sort of stuff. So, and the things that are happening in the physical. So it does seem like they're kind of like waking up, but they're still in the stage where the bondage is kind of still tight. And I don't think they're like liberated from it. They're just like more aware of it. And it's also helping them become more aware of the karma that they've accumulated, becoming conscious of kind of their own conditions and patterning. So we have the Seven of Cups, and this is a Venus in Scorpio energy, and it asks us to gain clarity by turning away from any addiction or anything that's really intoxicated us. It wants us to be like sober, detox, keep your mind very clear, and potentially getting some like fresh air, breaking free from any confusion or illusions, or things that don't serve us in any way. So it seems like a lot of the bad karma that this person accumulated is mostly coming from their own either like addictions to maybe substances, things in the physical, people potentially, I'm getting, but like the wrong kinds of people. Maybe they're more interested in like attention, validation, or something like that. Like they're kind of not going about it right. And this person probably wouldn't be able to tell you all of this in so many words because this Page of Swords is coming out upside down. The page is a very youthful swords energy, and swords rules everything to do with like understanding things, like having the mental capacity to really process what's going on, especially understanding our identity, our beliefs, and our kind of maybe deeper soul or spirit intention or energy behind things. So yeah, I would say with this coming out in reverse, and it being like a very youthful swords energy to begin with, that this person's like still like maybe in the early stages of figuring all this out. Like they still have a little ways to go for sure. And it seems like maybe one of their problems is they're potentially not embracing the spiritual side of life. They might be a little bit too logical, intellectual, maybe practical. We did have a lot of air and earth energy come out, so there wasn't a lot of cups, which is really emotive energy. There also wasn't any wands energy, fire energy in these initial cards, which is that energy of really kind of being in spirit, like that real inspiration. So yeah, I think they're maybe a little bit too down to earth in a way that's not serving them, because they're kind of like not looking at the bigger picture of things, or they're just starting to. And it seems like it's maybe led them down a challenging path. This Judgment card, this energy upright is like being really conscious of your eternal soul nature, that you're a infinite being having multiple experiences of lifetimes, that you're currently like reincarnating in this body, but this body will ultimately meet its end. You'll have to let go of that body eventually. And along the way, throughout this incarnation, you'll have to let go of a lot of ideas about who that body could have been too. You'll have to kind of really just surrender to what your soul intended you to learn in this lifetime. So yeah, I would say this energy coming out in reverse, this person's not seeing that infinite self. I think they're really attached to this physical body and what's happening in this lifetime. And I think that's like interrupting their ability to like play with this life and enjoy this life and experiment and explore, and just like essentially have a good time. I think they're like maybe curious about the more spiritual side, Like, I don't think they're closed-minded, especially not because we had all this air energy come out. I think they're just like trying to find their way to that. I think one of the big problems for them is like maybe not having a good relationship between their conscious and subconscious. Like, the subconscious is where we really connect to the higher self, like when we can really let go of our conscious mind, like relax, meditate, or just like get into nature and like look for that feeling of like awe and wonder that like really makes the conscious mind feel really insignificant and makes us feel a part of something like much bigger than ourselves. And also like that energy of kind of like releasing control, like surrendering to life. I would say that they're like maybe struggling with all of that side a little bit more. The Four of Wands can sometimes refer to marriage in the physical, but a lot of the time it also refers to like a union within, especially a union between like maybe the more like masculine swords energy, pentacles energy, and the more feminine, the more masculine swords and wands energy, and the more feminine cups and pentacles energy. Like, it seems like maybe there's opportunity for this person to like get in touch with their inner feminine, I would say, mostly. Yeah, so that they can, because it's really that inner feminine side that's like most connected to God, essentially, like most receptive to God. And it's that feminine that's really going to open up this person to their continuous or infinite nature. The moon is also the subconscious, so yeah, there's just like a lot of energies here that I would assume are to do with the unconscious. This could also mean, especially because the partners card came out, is that maybe they've been in the wrong relationships, or maybe they've assumed that they're going to marry someone different to who they're actually intended, who's actually intended for them to marry. Potentially this was a contract that they made before they entered this life as well. So they could be making like kind of bad decisions when it comes to who to be in a relationship with. But yeah, ultimately, I think they need to do some work in this Ten of Pentacles energy, which is like figuring out the soul behind the physical, like really getting into the soul of things, like getting into like not treating what's manifesting in the physical at such face value, like really appreciating the depth, especially like the heart and soul that we can put into our own manifestations. Like, that's half the joy of like having things materialize, is like appreciating how much of our own energy we put into it and how hard we worked, and also how hard we played and rested, to be honest. The moon card, traditionally talks about like making, like it's a very manifesting energy, but it talks mostly about our own personal spiritual evolution, and how we can kind of like call in the next level to ourselves, especially at night before we're falling asleep, when our conscious mind is really like, the defenses are really low and the subconscious mind is like kind of really kicking into gear, to be honest, and like making suggestions to the subconscious of like what we would like to experience in the world. It seems like maybe they could benefit from doing a little bit of that, like really getting their intention clear, especially at night before they fall asleep. And yeah, like just spending more time connecting to that subconscious rather than being so in their head. Because yeah, I think that's not really serving them at all. But let's get a few more messages in regards to maybe what they're going through. Okay, so we first have the snake, which is competition, enemy, clever, malicious, looking over your shoulder, the other woman. Like I was saying before, like I think they're potentially entertaining relationships with people that aren't going to ever serve them, that maybe aren't going to be anywhere near the depth that this person's really wanting. But yeah, I would say this person seems like they're starting to talk more about maybe this more spiritual or deep side of life. Maybe they're trying to understand their place in the world, their purpose, and maybe right some wrongs from their past and things like that. So there's a very good chance that if you aren't in contact with this person, that they might even reach out to you, especially if they know that you're very spiritual, if you have a deep faith, and if if they think that they can get this depth from you, I would expect that you might hear from them throughout their process of kind of spiritual awakening. They are coming to a more pure sovereign state. I just think that they're in a bit of a sticky situation now, but I would expect it to change. And I would expect them to be evolving potentially very quickly at the moment as well. Because it seems like, although there's a lot of kind of challenging energy, especially at the start here, it does seem like there's a lot of energy suggesting that things are going to kind of come together, especially when this person gets really clear about what they want to manifest and how they want to live their life. And yeah, it does seem like they're on the right track. They're just surrendering to the divine more and more, I would say, every day. I kind of would think that the more they're getting into it, the more they're getting out of it, and so the more they're leaning into it as a result. So yeah, it seems like there's something waking up in them for sure, which I feel like is nice. Okay, so the affirmation we have for them is, I see all circumstances as a gift that allow me to grow. So yeah, they're really growing right now. I think they're taking every kind of challenge that's being thrown at them and figuring out how to learn from it. So yeah, it seems like they're kind of on the right path. I think things are just maybe a bit sticky with the direction they're heading, and then how things have maybe played out for them in the past that might just kind of take some time to sort out. But I think I might leave that here for pile 1. Thank you so much for making it all the way through the reading. I really appreciate it. I would love if you could like, comment, and subscribe to support me on this channel. My name is Jade Wilding, and it's been a pleasure reading for you. Until next time, ciao. Hey there, pile 2. Welcome to a reading for where your person is at on their own personal or spiritual journey. So if you chose this beautiful crystal, then this reading is probably for you. Just making sure you're bringing along your own intuition and discernment to this general reading to add any nuance to the situation that your intuition is telling you is important. Can we have maybe some energies that this person's dealing with right now? Okay, so this person's really clarifying their life purpose and also their potential past life or current life karma at the moment. They're definitely evolving spiritually. This ninth house energy has to do with like getting more interested in travel, philosophy, higher education, or just like having a deeper kind of faith in maybe higher order things. Gemini's the sister sign of that though, and that's maybe more intellectualizing, communicating, and it's more a relationship energy. So I would say this person's maybe developing a deeper relationship with this ninth house energy, and maybe bringing their own like intellect into that energy to maybe try and nut some stuff out, I would say. It seems like maybe a lot of the reason why they're going to this ninth house energy at the moment is either they think you're a soulmate. If you're a twin flame with this person that you're asking about, maybe they've met a soulmate. Potentially there's the possibility for like a deep commitment with someone, potentially marriage. And or this person's just like up leveling in a big way. They're just like going through this real expansion of themselves right now. It seems like kind of the juices are flowing for them to expand right now, and especially understanding like kind of what they came here for. And I would say overall the energy seems like it's going well. I would say that a lot of these people have Gemini, Sag, Taurus, Scorpio placements potentially, maybe some Leo. Or those are really the energies within themselves that they're really experiencing right now. So you can check on their chart where those energies fall if you want to know where else this is contributing to your person's life in particular. But yeah, like maybe let's pretty much get into the deeper messages with the tarot. Okay, so it seems like a big motivator for this person's growth at the moment is that they've potentially started to see their hope for maybe a family slipping away, especially, but also just like all of the more practical things in life that they'd envisioned for themselves. So, like partner, family, maybe like their soul work or career, finances, and yeah, like they're kind of like more kind of security energies. They're kind of seeing what they wanted slip away at the moment. And so that's what's really motivating them to like do all this work essentially. I think they want to be maybe a more abundant, more fertile kind of energy, maybe both in the physical and also like kind of on a soul level. So I think they know they need to get like more on track with their purpose, figure out some of their patterns that they keep repeating and why they're repeating it, and maybe working on healing a bit more, especially so they don't pass those patterns down onto their kids. The sun energy, this often refers to a baby being born, so it does seem like that's one of their goals. But this Two of Swords is a heavy introspection energy. You can see this figure is blindfolded, so they're not looking outside of themselves, they're really looking within. And you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but she's sitting on the ocean, and there's like little rocks that are appearing out of the sea. So this is the sea of the unconscious, and this is the obstacles that are able to block her from getting where she needs to go. If she doesn't have this self-reflection, this interior reflection, to understand what those obstacles are that are seated in her subconscious and work on them. So I would say essentially that's what it seems like your person is doing. They're potentially meditating a lot, really working on their own conscious creation energy. The Magician's like such an alchemist energy, like they're able to manifest whatever they want. And yeah, this Hanged One, this is like heavy like meditation, reflection, Two of Swords, like interior vision, like looking within, and seeing any blocks or obstacles in their way, to having what they want, which seems like it's this family, especially because we have the Divine Pair, King and Queen of Pentacles, coming out in reverse. Out of all of the minor arcana, the King and Queen of Pentacles in particular, they're the most kind of mum and dad energy. The Queen of Pentacles, very mothering, nurturing, abundant. King of Pentacles, very secure, stable. Yeah, he's like most the father energy. So it does seem like that's what this person wants. But they're like really, really, really dedicated to this work. Like they are doing the work. They're consciously creating, they're meditating, they're looking within for the answers. I would say they're stumbling upon a lot of their karma. The Wheel of Fortune upright is more about kind of the wheel of karma kind of turning in your favor and bringing you fortunate circumstances. When it's in reverse, sometimes it's like you really being stuck on the wheel of karma, like you're really repeating the same patterns over and over again. And the Wheel of Fortune, for you to stay really balanced as it spins, like you really need to be very grounded, and like metaphorically stand in the center of the wheel so that when it spins, it doesn't throw you off course. So they're potentially seeing how, as their own karma patterns played out, they're being thrown off course from this family that they wanted. And so, yeah, now they're like really, really heavily working on trying to find that center, that stable place where like the wheel can turn, but they're able to like more consciously deal with the way it turns, so they don't end up in so many misfortunate situations. The Eight of Pentacles is a heavy like growth, learning, sometimes employment energy. It's a sun in Virgo, and it's really about containing any chaos, and like establishing some sort of order, routine, health and fitness goals. Like the sun in Virgo really gets shit done in that regard, so it does seem like that's what they're working on. But yeah, I would say they're not done just based on how many of these cards came out in reverse. Like they're getting it, they're on the path, but still there's a lot of things that haven't fallen into place for them, to do with these energies. Like they're getting the good habits like underway, but it's either still in the early stages or, yeah, potentially like there might be like more to it than this person's currently seeing potentially. So yeah, it might take some time to like kind of nut out. but we'll see if the oracles can tell us anything else about kind of what's happening or what's happened. Okay, so this person's potentially talking to more spiritual people and kind of learning a lot at the moment. Okay, so potentially they've had codependent relationships in the past. They might have been overly controlling, or like maybe emotionally unavailable or blocked, and not able to fully give themselves to a connection. That might have been you, potentially. But yeah, it does seem like this person sees the connection as over, that they're not going to have a second chance. So they've really got to grow and transform their life if they can have what they want. But they definitely are reminiscing a lot about potentially either your connection if you've been in connection with this person already, or they're learning from the past in terms of like their past connections, maybe, or like their family dynamics or something. Like they're definitely looking back to grow at this time. And yeah, I think they're still like nutting some stuff out, essentially. Okay, they're trying to surrender to the path and to maybe a higher force than themselves at the moment. And I think they're really just like focusing on how much they desire what they desire, and letting that motivate them to make all these changes so that they can attract their desires. And they're really like trying to let go of all this past karma, all this South Node energy. Like they're really trying not to repeat patterns from the past. So if you've been in connection with this person already, I'm assuming they don't want to act the same as maybe they did in this connection in the past. Or if you haven't, I would say that they don't want to repeat the patterns of the past, either from their childhood or from their past relationships. So know that that's really what they're working on. And I think they're just like really praying that it's all going to work out, to be honest. Okay, so the affirmation we have for them is, I radiate prosperity and manifest success. So there's a good chance that a lot of these things will go well, and they're generally a fairly abundant and successful person. So once they kind of like get their foot in the door, so to speak, and kind of establish some structure, they're most likely going to succeed. It looks like everything's falling, the chips are kind of like falling in their favor in a way. It just might be some time before things start to line up so that a change in the physical can occur. We do have a lot of 4s. We have 4, 4, 44, and 4 here. 4s in numerology represent a lot of stability, structure, things taking form. So yeah, it seems like this person's just on a bit of a stability kick. Like they're really looking for that solid ground. And I would say it's going to come together for them, to be honest. And if you see lots of 4s, that's the universe speaking to you about particularly the messages in this reading. But I think I'm going to leave that there. Thanks so much for making it all the way through. I would love if you can like, comment, and subscribe to support me on this channel. My name's Jade Wilding. It's been a pleasure reading for you, and until I see you again for another reading or astrology video, ciao. Hey there, Part 3. Welcome to a reading for what your person's personal or spiritual journey is looking like right now. So if you chose this beautiful crystal, then this reading is probably for you. Obviously, we are starting to lose the light a little bit, so hopefully it adds to the ambiance. But we're going to start with getting messages about kind of where they're at more in a physical or practical sense first, and then we'll get deeper messages from our tarot. Okay, so this person's probably learning a lot about who they are right now, what lights them up in terms of like maybe pleasure, play, fun, entertainment, and as well as like their soul work, their soul calling, like what's really going to excite and inspire them to do in the world. And it seems like essentially what's happening with these main areas of their life is they're really like rethinking about things, like what's actually true for them, as opposed to maybe what their ideas about it were. And essentially, I think some things are maybe crumbling to make space for better things. We have 1111 here and 333. So ones are very much indicating like some initiation, some starting, things kind of like taking off, but potentially they're still more in the inspiration stages of these things. Maybe things haven't quite come into fruition yet. And threes are numbers of multiplicity, of like things, especially things about to be birthed. Like it seems like they're kind of maybe in the inspiration stages and about to birth some things. Because yeah, threes in Kabbalistic tarot are associated with more of divine feminine energy, Empress energy, birthing things into the physical. So yeah, it kind of seems like that's what stage they're in with these things. But it does seem like they're maybe inspired. We have some Leo and Aries energy. So this is like real passionate kind of go-getter energy, as well as a lot of earth energy. We have Capricorn and Virgo, and Gemini. We have a little bit of Scorpio, a little bit of Libra. Potentially they're either going to go into business with someone, and or potentially thinking about who they might need to be in terms of being the right partner. Like that might be a big inspiration for like why they're nutting things out, and potentially realizing that if they want to be the partner they want to be, they're going to have some of these things sorted out, especially if they want to be with you, for example, or if they just want to be a good partner in general by the looks of it. But yeah, we might get some more specifics about what they're figuring out with these things using the tarot. We have some more specifics about this, please. We have some more specifics about what they're birthing. Okay, funny that we got the Empress, who's another 3. Okay, so it seems like this person realized that if they kept going the way they were going, they were not going to be a good partner because they maybe weren't that emotionally available, maybe weren't that compassionate or empathetic or supportive. So they've really had to hit the pause and do a lot of self-reflection. The Two of Swords is heavy self-reflection card. You can see this person's blindfolded, so They're not looking outside of themselves, they're really looking within. And you can see this is the sea of the unconscious, and there's rocks rising from the sea of the unconscious. So we know this person is uncovering maybe some of the things within themselves that were blocking their own ability to be emotionally available, supportive partner. I would say that there was maybe a lot of things that were blocking their ability to be a good partner, but I would say the main thing is like maybe they didn't feel like they were worthy of like joy, pleasure, like abundance, wealth, success. The Three of Cups, these are the three graces, and they rule things like being cheerful, being radiant, like really nurturing things in your life so that they bloom, abundance, joy, like all of that really feel good energy. Like that's the Three of Cups energy. So it seems like, yeah, they realized that maybe they didn't feel like they deserved any of those things, because the stars wish fulfillment. It's having like all of your dreams come true, and maybe they want those things but didn't feel worthy of them. You can see in this artwork that the person is sifting through the water of the unconscious, and this is where they're focusing on. So this is like really about unpacking unconscious beliefs that block us from our wishes coming true, whereas this water is being poured back onto the land. So it's like, don't worry about how things are coming into the physical so much. Like, worry about where things start in the unconscious first, and then this will sort itself out, to be honest. This card also has a star for every chakra on the body. So this is like really a healing energy, like healing anything that comes up from the unconscious, like potentially doing affirmations of being worthy of love, being worthy of joy, being worthy of radiance, like all that sort of stuff. It seems like this person maybe didn't have the best self-worth, and that's potentially why the things they wanted weren't manifesting in the physical. The Ten of Pentacles, this is kind of like the last card of manifestation of the minor arcana. So we go through all of the wands, then swords, then cups, then wands, then cups, and swords, and pentacles energies to get to this final manifestation. The Ten of Pentacles upright is like essentially all your dreams, desires coming true, everything that you've nurtured, every seed that you've sown, like really bearing fruit from that. So it's like family, job, finances, security, home, like all of that sort of stuff, like really materializing. And it's come out in reverse. So all this person's desires haven't materialized, I would say. And it seems like the thing that was stopping those things from materializing was their own kind of feelings of self-worth. Because the Empress is a big birther energy, and as we discussed in the previous part, we have 333. This is Empress energy, card number 3. This is about birthing everything that you want in the physical. And the Empress births everything from a place of receptivity. Like, she doesn't kind of go out of her way to consciously manifest things. She just goes out of her way to enjoy her life, embrace every pleasure. And because she is such a like joyful, pleasure-seeking kind of energy, things just come to her. Like, she's so receptive, and it seems like that's what kind of went wrong for this person. We have the 9 and 8 of Swords. This is a big card of like anxiety, depression, like really being stuck in your own thoughts. 8 of Swords is also traditionally associated with isolation and imprisonment. So yeah, this person was probably in a prison in their own head, especially with their own feeling of like identity, self-belief, self-worth. Like, this is all this 9 of Swords energy, that it seems like they weren't, yeah, that they just like didn't get about themselves as an individual. Yeah, so they haven't been embracing joy. And so it's a big time for really transforming like who they think they are and like their ability to enjoy life. So yeah, that seems like what they're working on right now. Do we have anything else? Do we have anything else, please? Okay, so it seems like this person's hoping, especially that love is coming, that they're going to meet someone new. I think they're potentially learning from the past when it comes to how all of this kind of more negative energy affected their relationships and made them kind of more emotionally unavailable. Especially if we've been in connection with them before, I would say they're like really reflecting on this. If not, they're probably just reflecting more in a broad sense of like how their own stuff got in the way of them being in partnerships with people and being like a good partner to them. Yeah, this person's potentially finding their divine masculine energy within, or going to be partnered up with their divine masculine, which is, you know, potentially you or someone else, depending on your situation. Just use your intuition. But yeah, this person's about to experience a new start because they've been doing so much work, so much like self-reflection and like understanding how all of this has played out for them. And their prosperity is really lying ahead. Like things are really going to turn around for this person because of all this work they're doing. So yeah, it seems like everything's like kind of falling into place as they've really focused on their own stuff. And the affirmation we have for them is, I am filled with creative energy and I'm ready to manifest. So yeah, it does seem like they're getting more into this place of like fun, joy, kind of embracing all these things, especially because the Three of Cups and Empress came out upright. Like they're really getting into the flow of it and the creative energy is really up, like leveling so that they can manifest better. And so they're really responsible for their own new start and their own prosperity because of all of this focus that they've been putting on their own creative energy. So that's cool. But I think I might leave that here. Thanks so much for making it all the way through. I really appreciate it. I would love if you could like, comment, and subscribe to support me on this channel. My name's Jade Rewilding. It's been a pleasure reading for you. And until I either read for you in another tarot video again, or we see each other in a astrology video or whatever it may be, ciao.